The prison is a place to put people who have committed crimes against the law and punish them by the law. But this definition does not apply in Guantanamo Bay, the notorious prison which is considered the most dangerous prison in the world and which contains the worst and most horrific types of torture. The most people think that Guantanamo prison is in United States, but in fact, it's a prison in Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. What? I think Guantanamo Bay is under the command of America, right? I mean, how prison in Cuba is under the command of America? Cuba was under Spanish sovereignty from 1492 until 1898, until Spain agreed to hand over Cuba to America. And Cuba remained under the rule of America until 1902, when America announced the independence of Cuba. But exchange for Cuba's independence, Cuba allowed to America in 1903 to rent a base in Guantanamo Bay. Maybe you'll think the rent will be very expensive, right? Because America has a base on the land of Cuba. Cuba leased this land to America for $2,000, and not in the month, but in the year. But now America felt guilty, and said this amount was very small, man, and began giving Cuba $4,000 in the year. I don't know who is the idiot who agreed to this amount, but yeah, that's what happened. But this decision did not like the Cuban resistance and Cuban people, who eventually removed the rule of President Batista and come after Fidel Castro. And Cuba turned into a communist country. And of course, we will not forget the Cuban Missile Crisis between the United States and the Soviet Union, which the world was very close to a nuclear war. But Guantanamo Bay became a prison in 2002 by the President Bush after the September 11 attacks. America was so angry and arrested anyone, even if they just suspected a little. Between 2002 and 2004, there were more than 700 prisoners in Guantanamo, most of them related to the September 11 case. This prison was famous at that time for the strict security and the humiliating methods of torture. And there is many people who were imprisoned by mistakes about charges of terrorism. But America could not prove the charges, so many prisoners remained in the prison for years. This prison is divided into many camps according to the danger of the prison. Delta Camp. This camp includes 620 detainees divided into a small 6 camps. And the prisoners in this camp were wearing the white clothes because they are the least dangerous. And Iguana Camp, which is a small camp, does not have much guards. And there are rumors that there were teenagers under the 18 being held in this camp. And the X-ray Camp, which is a temporary camp to determine where the prisoners will be placed. And for camp number 5, which opened in 2004 and which considered one of the most dangerous camps in the prison. The prisoners were wearing orange and chained in their hands and feet. And every person was imprisoned in a small and dark room. The prisoners were subject to the worst physical and psychological torture. There was a very loud engine in the cells placed to prevent the prisoners from sleeping. And even when the prisoners talk to each other, they will speak very loudly, so their voice will be heard by everyone. The food was very little, and when they give them the food, they put diarrhea pills to the prisoners could not sleep because they needed the bathroom. And all this with beating and insult they are subjected, which aims to destroy the moral and psychological spirit of the prisoner. And if you think this is the most dangerous camp in the prison, unfortunately, you are wrong. Because camp number 7 is the worst ever, and this camp will be placed for anyone who participated in the September 11 case or carried out any terrorist attacks against America. And this camp is so secretive, even the old generals and officials refused to talk about camp number 7 and the horrific torture that happened in it. But there are some rumors that they used the delusion of drowning, as they poured large amount of water on the prisoners until the prisoners felt that he drowning. And of course this causes many problems in respiratory system and lungs. Some prisoners even succeeded through his lawyer to leaking some of his drugs, showing the hideous methods of torture that happening there. They put them in coffin and pour water on them and wear headphones and raise the sound to the highest possible level the human brain can bear it. This can cause detainees and many brain problems, and of course this with the racist and non-moral methods. You can say it's just like a dark hole, you can't get out of it. One of the most famous prisoners who were in Guantanamo is a person called Muhammadu Wild Salahi, and he is from Mauritania. This person was imprisoned from 2002 until 2016 without any evidence of his involvement in the September 11 case. They imprisoned him because they just suspected about him. This man wrote a dangerous book in the prison entitled by Guantanamo's Diary. The American authorities have blocked many pages of this book, but of course they did not hide all the facts, especially the statement of this man. According to his statements, they were called them by numbers, not by their names, and his number was 760. They were interrogating him daily for 18 hours using all possible interrogating and torture methods. He was subjected to all kinds of torture, standing for hours, not sleeping, beating, and racial and sexual insults. And all of this when they just suspecting. So imagine what would happen if he was the real criminal. And to force him to speak with any information, they threatened him to arrest and imprison his mother and put her in main prison. And you know what will happen there? And this showing you the amount of evil in this prison. And there is a movie about the story of this man entitled by the Mauritanian, which was produced in 2021. So if you are interested in this story, you can watch it. Guantanamo prison is still open until today and still has 31 prisoners. There are many deaths happen in this prison, but the United States just say, no man, it's just suicide, you know? There were many attempts, especially from Barack Obama, to close this prison, but they all failed and this prison is still open. Of course, they are people who deserve what's happening to them in Guantanamo because they have committed terrible crimes. But the most are just innocent people and suspected people, you know? And yeah, that's it. If you're still here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. Okay, see you in the next video. Goodbye.